It's Wednesday, March the 10th. Lake level's about 19, 913 and 3/4. Same as it was last week. It's maybe changed an inch or two, and it's been the same for about 2 or 3 weeks. But the water temperature's really starting to come up. Day before yesterday, I found a lot of 50-degree water temperature. And this weekend, I was up in the Upper White River Saturday, I think, and there was 50-degree water up in Roaring River. But I did find Long Creek the other day. It was still 43 degrees or so, 44. A lot of the main lake, Kimberling City to the Indian Point to the dam, seemed to be, in the high 40s. But later in the day, there was some 50s. But anyways, they had a stick bait only tournament on Sunday on Table Rock. So all you could throw was a jerk bait. And the boys caught them pretty good. Really good. I was impressed. I think it took 19 pounds to win it. And quite a few, 15, 16 pound bags. And I fished it, and I pretty well sucked. I should have zigged or zagged but instead I zigged or something. But anyways, I didn't make it happen. I fished from Kimberling down to the dam. Kept waiting for the wind to blow, which it did, from noontime on, but I was still unable to put it together. But day before yesterday, started catching a lot of fish on a little swim bait. I think some of them, I've been saying that I haven't been finding any fish suspended. I'm starting to see a few more fish suspended where I'm catching them on a little 2.8 with either a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce head. And you can use like a Rage Swimmer or a little Kitech. And some of those fish that we caught yesterday, them Kentuckys, you can tell they've just recently come out of deep water. They were really pale. You can tell they've been out there deep. But they are starting to move up some and suspend. Saturday we caught several fish on Ned rigs up in the Upper White River. And most of these fish were pretty shallow in the creeks, secondary points, about 8 to 10 feet deep. We're using a 3/16 ounce 5-fish lures, ultimate Ned jig head. And usually I use a Strike King Zero or the Z-Man will work. I like the elastic baits. Put a little drop of super glue on and they last forever. But starting to catch a few fish on bottom too on a wobble head. Been throwing a 1/2 ounce swing head with a menace on it. Green pumpkin, depending on the color. If it's got some stain in it, I'll throw a watermelon red. But most of the lake is pretty clear. And, I think a lot of the better fish in the tournament this past weekend came from up in the river arms, where it was, way up in the Upper White or the James River, maybe even Long Creek. But I didn't see very many people where I was fishing. That's probably not a very good sign. But anyways, the fishing's picking up. We've had warm nights. And just a sign that I'm seeing some of these fish suspended and starting to catch them on a Ned rig. I think a lot more baits are going to start coming into play. Water temperature's about right for a crankbait. A lot of times I like to throw a wigglewort or a Spro rock crawler. And a lot of times in the spring, depending on the watercolor, but I like to throw, red and green, red and brown. This one here, if you can find them, it's been a pretty awesome bait. It's called Stone Cold. It's got a brown back and a blue belly. But normally in the spring, whether I'm throwing the wigglewort or the rock crawler, even a 6 cents, I like something with some red in it. The crawdad's got a lot of red in them. Deals, I'm finding you just got to crank it real slow. Trying to concentrate on chunk rock banks with a little bit of gravel mixed into with them. Just off the main lake, going back into the creeks, or even if you back into creeks, 1/2 to 3/4 of the way back, any little channel swings, secondary points, any place where them fish are starting to stage. And I did catch them on a jerkbait real good yesterday. It was 2 days late. The tournament was Sunday. But most of the jerkbait fish we caught were on a mixed stick. And I was using a Table Rock Ghost and a Blue Bandit. And they were coming out of brush piles and cedar trees. We had good wind yesterday. Seemed like we had to have a little breeze. But, you know, they weren't every place. We'd have to fish 5 or 6 spots. But almost everything we caught on the jerkbaits was largemouth. And most everything I caught on the Ned rig and the little swim bait was mainly Kentuckies and smallmouths. But I think that bite's going to get better as the lake temperature warms up, which it should be doing with all these warm days and warm nights. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.